Our town halls are always open to everyone in the city. So that QR code is how you sign up for the city newsletter. So if you guys want to quickly scan that so that they can email you on any updates. Got it, Pam? Okay. All right, so we're going to start with the charter review. It is actually how we run our city. It's our Constitution, defines the powers, roles, and responsibilities of the City Council, and actually how our boards that are officially appointed by the City Council are run. So we review it about every 5 years. It gives the authority to pass ordinances, levies taxes, and provide services. It gives homes, we actually function under the home rule city, which gives us a little bit more independence from the state of Texas. Its guides is fair and consistent decision-making in everything that we do. It is going to be updated. They start tomorrow night. If you guys are on the Charter Review Committee, can you raise your hands? So if you guys have any questions, concerns, if you understand what the charter is, you want any input into the charter, those are the people that you will go to. You can actually send it to any of your city council representatives as well. Okay, so 1958, 5 years, recommended updates to the city. Well, this year, we're actually going to make it a little bit more stern. It's a little lax right now, so basically what our goal is to lean into council decorum and to actually define what expectations are from us and to you guys. So it's really important if you have anything that you get that to us. Okay, budget highlights. We had, and I'm doing this quickly so we can get to questions because we're only here an hour. I didn't want to take too much time out of all of y'all's night. So we had no changes to the property taxes. They were low and competitive. We had a balanced budget. We do have a $2.3 million surplus that over the next few council meetings you will hear us discuss and how you guys want us to use that. So again, you need to reach out to your council members with any thoughts of how you might like to see that handled and used, okay? So we have 5 new public safety positions, 3 of which we did get the grant this year, and we'll get to that. We had applied for it last year but did not get approved for it, and within the last week we have gotten approval on the grant that will actually fund 3 of those positions. Fund types. This is my thing, guys. You have to understand what the funds are to understand how we can use our money. General fund, we can use pretty much anywhere. So if you park some money in general fund and you need it over in parks, here, there, you can go and take it out and move it. But if you have the special funds, the enterprise fund, capital projects, internal services, those are restricted funds. Once you put the money in there, you can't really move it that easily. It's just, that's not how these fund buckets work, which goes back to the $2.3 million in the surplus that we have. How do you guys want it used? Do you want it parked in the general fund so it can be used anywhere? Do you want it put in the enterprise fund to cover some operational costs or capital improvements, the water, wastewater, fleet, maintenance, how do you want it spent? And so that's what I want you guys to really start thinking about and communicating with your council members, okay? All right, I won't harp on funds anymore. Economic development. We have come so far since 2023. This focuses on creating conditions where the businesses and community can thrive together. We attract and retain. So we actually have somebody now, all she does is go out for retention visits to retain our current businesses. Because it's important that we not always be starting over. Because if we have enough of business, it makes it easier to pay for everything else that's nice and shiny, okay? So it strengthens our workforce, enhances the quality of life, and builds partnerships and drives our prosperity. We have grant facades, tax breaks that we give, and some other financial incentives. So basically, I'll give an example. If a business were to want to move into Farmers Branch across the street, and they wanted to buy the building, so let's say they're a $30 million business. I don't know, pick a number. But they're buying the building, and to incentivize them to come and to stay, we'll do 5, 10, 15, whatever the price is on a little bit of a tax abatement, or maybe we'll give them a grant facade to fix the outside to make it look nicer if it's an older business and into an older building that they're not going to level and rebuild. So that's how we work with them. So you don't see it come off of the bottom line of your taxes. You see it as almost a trade to make it easier, so it's not part of our budget one-liner type of thing. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. All right, so it stabilizes the economy with goods and services, generates tax revenues for the police, fire, and sanitation, and more, improves the quality of life for residents. So the inflation and the Fed rate cuts have not been promising, but it does look like we're going to have a bit of a softer landing than we had anticipated a year ago. The consumer confidence versus the debt, we're spending more, debt rising. Real estate, the high rates, low inventory are slowing the purchases. We have definitely seen that in Farmers Branch. We have houses sitting on the market a lot longer. The only thing we can't control are climate disasters. For us, that really looks like the floods, if it happened over in the levees on the west side, or Rawhide actually is in a floodplain, the creeks are in the floodplain, but tornadoes. So it's not just, it's not flooding like happened in, South Texas, but it does affect people's homes still. They're not floating away, but they're still going to get damaged. And then we have labor shortages, as you guys can all look out on Valley View and see. It's why it's not done. So it's why TxDOT has been so slow to finish under 35, and they actually have postponed a couple of times now. It's because of the labor shortages. They are actually working on it all now, but that has been, months and months since TxDOT had shown up to work under the bridge down there. So yeah. Okay, here's the infamous article that we're going to discuss. It went rampant over the weekend. Wallet Hub did some comparisons, and they ranked us really low. The problem with that is they didn't compare us to what is comparable for us. So we're not going to have nightclubs. We're a bedroom community. So that was irrelevant to us. We are working on things with DART, and we take the national community surveys all the time, it feels like these days. You guys have given us, 92% of you, it's a great place to live. 89% would recommend somebody to live here. 83% think that our services are positive. And the trust in the local government and communication is improving over the past few years. So all the doom and gloom in that last article that went out was not relative or correlative to us as Farmers Branch. We are not Dallas. We are a bedroom community, and we just do not have the same things, nor will we ever, because we are landlocked. It's just not a priority for us to have a nightclub. You guys have not said, go get us a nightclub. So I can appreciate but it's true, right? So I can appreciate the work that went into it for them, but it just wasn't correlative. And so it was very biased in their direction. So yeah, we are working on better transit through DART, more arts and cultural opportunities, and stronger access to healthcare through our county partners. We work with our regional agencies and community partners to improve all of these areas. MetroCrest Chamber of Commerce, MetroCrest Services. There's actually one just south of here in far North Dallas that we could use if we needed it. So we check the boxes, just not the way they want us to check the boxes. So moving forward, we earned the AAA bond ratings from Fitch and S&P, which proves that our finances are strong. I think they did that in the last week again or so. They went through and were checking all of our numbers again. We focused heavily on our safety, and we'll go into that again in just a few minutes. The infrastructure, it's coming along. Everybody knows. I don't think that it's any surprise that we have $300 million worth of wastewater infrastructure issues, but we've made the progress to cross how we are going to pay for that and when it's going to happen and how it's going to happen. So we've addressed these things. It just takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. Okay, public safety. There it is. We just got the $375,000 grant. So thank you, Chief. We appreciate you. All of our numbers are going down, 5.4% down for calls of services. Those go through NTAC, 5.4% up for traffic stops. Just don't speed in Farmers Branch. I mean, you're gonna get pulled over. I've noticed that they even have speed traps going these days. So 1,400 citations, 191 adult arrests. Those fluctuate monthly, just based on things that are happening around us and they have to drive through, just random stuff. It's hard to define that. 15 DWIs and 75 crashes. And the red lights. Don't run the red lights. Don't run the red lights. I mean, I can't say that enough. It's awful. So 21 crimes against persons, which is down 23.3%. 104 property crimes. It's promising, 27.2% down year to date. And then things to note. And I said I was going to go fast so you guys could get through this. Here's how we're covering the water, wastewater. So first and foremost, we were not charging or collecting from you guys what we were being charged. We were very upside down. You can go back into the agendas and see there was this pretty little graph that proved that, and by next year we were basically going to be in the negative. So we raised them to compensate for that specific rate. And so we're not making money off of this. And that's what I want people to understand. The city is not making money off of this. We raised the rates to very specifically be where we were being charged and be able to cover the $300 million. In January, we expect an engineering report to come back in that will prioritize the water, wastewater for us so we can intelligently go down a list and say, this checks the box, this one needs to go first. None of that, though, will compensate for if we have any type of catastrophic event. Because if the water main breaks, it doesn't matter that it was at the bottom of the list to be replaced. If the water main breaks, we have to replace the water main. So this covers all of that. We did give the seniors and disabled residents a discount. It's automatic 10% discount for residents with a 65 or older or disabled person homestead exemption on file with DCAD. So if it's not on file with DCAD, you need to get it on file with DCAD. Yes, sir.
When you say it's automatic, has that changed recently? Because I discovered I had to complete a form.
DCAD changed all of that. So those were in our DCAD meetings earlier this year. They absolutely changed all of that. So you have to check it. Right, you have to check it. Because if it hasn't, don't assume, like right there, don't assume because you've had a DCAD, exemption previously that you have it going forward. You must check it every single year. Okay? Pickleball, October 31st through November 9th in Brookhaven. You guys do get a 25% resident discount. You guys can use those QR codes if you want to grab those. I don't know if anybody's interested in pickleball. Going once, there you go. Okay. All right, FBTX. You can download the app, and again, there's a QR code for it. You can report concerns. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to report your neighbor for a code violation, but loose animals, streetlight outages, water leaks, if there's something flooding, during the storms that we had last spring, you can report that. You can report that there's flooding on Rawhide. Traffic signal issues, you can submit a request for trash pickup, trash bins, recycling bins. Anybody want that? Okay.
I have a question. Is free bus controlled by Encore or Farmers Branch?
Well, Yes, they are, the street lights are on core. The lights for, the red lights are us. So are you asking about? Okay, all right, yes. But you can still, if you report it to us, then we immediately report it back in. It goes kind of up the list of, and if you're reporting it through the FBTX, then there's actually a workflow. And so it makes it so much easier. I know a lot of you guys, you will email your council member directly, and we send it to Ben, and it gets into the workflow, but it's a much longer path of getting into the workflow. And if you put it in here, it must check all the boxes to be turned off. Okay, and they are getting it. Okay. And then you will see it pop up when it's handled, that it has been taken care of. Branch alerts. So we had a presentation on this from the fire department not long ago, but these are also the emergency alerts for our city, very specifically. What day was that, Daniel? Do you remember? So if they want to go look at it, I don't remember. I know. So if you sign up for it, you just text the FB alert to the 888-777. You're going to get, like, if there's a thunderstorm coming, you're going to see that. But if you don't respond, because it's going to ask you a question, you know, did you get this, basically? Have you seen this? And if you do not respond, you're going to continue to get the alert until you respond, acknowledging you've seen the alert. Okay? So just know that. All right. Any questions? I said I was going to be fast, so come at me. What you guys got? Yes, sir.
Question about economic development. You mentioned tax breaks for potential new business coming to town. Which bucket does that money come from?
It doesn't come from a bucket. That's the reason we do it that way, because there's not really a bucket per se, because it never made it in. So sometimes, like with the demo rebuild, it's a tax abatement. And so they pay their tax and then they bring us the bill. And it's just the difference of what the property used to be versus what it is now. They get the difference of what it used to be and what it is now reimbursed back to them. For commercial businesses, it does work similarly, but it never makes it onto our bucket list, where the residential makes it to our bucket list. Does that make sense? It's truly a way, I hate to say this, it's almost a shell game, just to make it easier for us to incite businesses to come to us. Do you have a better response for that? I'm looking at finance. I mean, is it pretty simple? I mean, it's.
When I checked on the financial for the state, and that just about covers it.
Yeah. I know there's more details behind it, but.
Right, regards to like a rebate, for example, for property taxes, you'd see that inflow increase, but that would go basically out the door. So it's essentially, it would be an offsetting expenditure as it relates to incentive. And that's only in regards to property tax, so there could be incentives related to utility rates or other tax. So it kind of depends on what the incentive package is for any particular business and the relation involved.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Can I comment on that one? That it's basically a way later it comes down, right?
Yes.
So instead of to get them here, we retain them, and then later they should be paying us more.
Yes, absolutely,
So it's
absolutely.
getting more monthly.
Yeah, later we do catch up. There's always, and you'll see in our presentations when they come forward, they now put like where that moment is in time that we break even and start making money. So, yes, sir.
Does the city have a plan in place for maintaining the current parks and trails?
For the maintenance of it, I don't think that we've really, there you go.
Robert Diaz, Parks and Rec Director, we have a maintenance schedule for all of our parks. We don't necessarily have
Yeah.
when you say a plan, we have a Parks and Rec open space plan for development, like you were saying. We have maintenance standards that we
I
have.
toured two of them this morning, they are in pitiful shape.
Which
I've been
ones?
complaining about J.C. Park for the last 2 or 3 years. Veterans Park, that's pitiful. Trees all over the place, growing into the culverts. Dead limbs laying, you cannot ride around it without being hit by limbs.
Would you like to see the, I can.
I'll walk it with you.
All right, no
You
problem.
say
We
when.
can do that, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, come find me after this is over.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Anyway, yes. No,
Is
her.
there somebody in the city that could help people who are seniors, who have been here, that help out with catastrophic things that happen as far as financial or big? I ask because I have a friend who lives in Old Farms Ranch. She's in the house that she grew up in. And she had some trees from the tornadic activity and stuff and storms that just devastated, and she's in debt. And I just wondered, if something like that happens, if we have something catastrophic happens, and you know, you live on $500 a month,
Right.
is there somebody in the city?
So if you reach out to, which department has it been? There he is.
Hi, my name is Sam Thomas, I'm the
Yeah.
Director of Community Services.
Yeah.
They can reach out to community services. We have a minor home repair program that they may qualify for. We've actually helped an individual in that same situation where she couldn't afford to get a tree removed, so we were able to make those arrangements. Now, there are some qualifications that need to be met. It's basically, you own your own and you live in your own, and then, but we can work with that. If you
And
make the effort,
this department is called
community service.
Community Services.
Correct. Right. And I've got a business card out there that I can hand you to speak directly to the individual in community services that handles that program.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Mark.
Yes, you differentiated moments ago between the street lights, which are on Core, and the traffic lights, which are the city, and thank you for doing that, by the way. I was curious about a particular street light that happens to appear on Webb Chapel, and it regulates traffic for some reason in 3 directions, but the 4th direction has vanished. Where the elementary school used to be, it is no longer. And so the traffic light that used to regulate traffic in and out of that school is now obsolete and must be removed. And there's another light at Southern Pines, just right next to it, that will regulate traffic just fine because there's not that other flow. Has the city?
We've had ad
looked at
nauseum
making that?
conversations about those very specific lights. And until the district decides what they're going to do with that empty lot, because the crosswalks are there for the children, we can't do anything.
Can't take the light out even though the entrance does not exist any longer.
No, because it was still a school.
So then that's really, for all intents and purposes, that's really a traffic thoroughfare.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good to know.
Following up on that, can residents go to the school and can the school do anything about that? Or is that like a legal designation that that's a school, that property, and those lights can't be changed? Or could residents go to the school district and have these comments and make requests like that?
Ben?
Ben Williamson, city manager, I'll speak for public works. Oh, never mind, it's here, go for it.
So I'm Rayson Briggs, Director of Public Works. So that one, that traffic signal, there's 2 different intersections, and yes, it was for the school that was there. It's controlled by one cabinet. We have a study that's gonna look into those, see how we can run it a little bit better, but it would have to come off, we would have to split it into 2 cabinets to kind of run independently of each other. So that's a study that's coming up and will be looked at, but it's still there to help the residents from the east side cross over safely to that side to get to the school. That's how they're.
But can't the crosswalk do that? There are robust crosswalks now that have visual and auditory and all kinds of things that give the individual plenty of time. If we're going to restrict that, pardon me, use that signal for crosswalk, let's make it appropriate and get rid of the traffic signal that's no longer relevant.
So the traffic signal is there to stop the traffic from going, because it is a 6-7 lane.
I understand what it is,
So
but there's another light there. Yeah.
And so we are having the traffic engineer study those in amongst other intersections, so they can more pedestrians and traffic.
Yeah.
The drivers don't pay attention to crosswalks. I've been involved many times.
True, very true. Yes, Rick?
I have a couple questions. The first one, where is our citizens collection center that we were promised back in June? You know, we're gonna get rid of it, close it down, because obviously, they had somebody who wanted to buy the property. They kind of put the cart before the horse because there's nothing happening with the property. In fact, you could probably start it right back up. But we were promised one in June, a new one, and it never materialized. I have a couple more.
We didn't, it took longer to get the permits from TQuat, but it is open on Saturday mornings. We do have one open on every Saturday morning. Is that correct, Ben?
That is correct.
Sorry.
That is correct.
Okay,
You do-
yeah,
It took the TCQ permit took a little longer, but it opened on us.
yeah.
So
And it,
when is it gonna be permanently open like it used to be?
It won't be permanently open, it'll just be open on Saturdays. for now.
So you only have garbage on one day of the week?
well, no, this is where your drop off. If you,
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
But, I mean,
That's not.
doesn't make any sense. It used to be a great site, and I've heard arguments that, well, commercial people were using it, so we could stop that. And then it occurred to me just the other day that maybe the people building out all that other area there didn't like it. But it was a perfect place, and the guy that ran it was into recycling big time. So all of a sudden, it's gone, and it was, most people didn't even know it was there because it was hidden behind the trees, but it was set up beautifully.
yeah. I don't think we received any complaints from anybody, from any of the residents or the businesses over there that it was there. It was not cost effective, so I wasn't on council at that time, in truth, but I did follow it. But yes, Rick.
Well, one of the points was, is we were led to believe that we were gonna have it like it was there in another location. The gentleman was possibly gonna come back, he was monitoring it and stuff. And then now it's all of a sudden changed. That's not right. It's like you guys are switching it out and stuff. I mean, that's not fair to us. And remember, we had to just get rid of it all of a sudden before anything happened with the land and stuff, and now it's sitting there with nothing. Another point I'd like to bring up, I've come in countless times during open speak, and I talk about how bad our city looks and how much it's declining. Well, I guess somebody took notice too, because there's an article out now that compares us to Lancaster. What was the other one, Haltom City? That's on the lower spectrum of everything. And all we hear about is what a wonderful job everybody's doing. Code enforcement is not done their job by no means. Our four corners up there looks like hell. I mean, when are you gonna take off the blinders and really start doing something about the problems around here? This place has never looked like this, ever.
Absolutely.
So I know I have walked the parks myself personally with Ben. So we know, we are working on it. We know, we have walked the parks. We understand, certain things just haven't checked the box. As far as the four corners, we're working on things, but that takes time as well. Some things I can't speak to because you just can't yet. But Mr. Clausen has to want to do something. I know it's public knowledge that, you guys may know it, but it is public knowledge that Marshall's is not staying. So I have asked Ben and the Economic Development crew to task them to see if they could find another location in Farmers Branch for them. But there are certain things that they have to have, large new grease traps. They have to have a special vent-a-hood, because what you guys don't see is, we think, oh, we get great barbecue on Sundays. They do a lot of catering, a lot of catering, so they have to have a large kitchen. But once they move, those leases are up, and then we have that strip again that we can start negotiating to. Hopefully, prayerfully, that's their goal. But, big lots we're working on. There's lots of moving targets out there. Can I say what we're doing over here? Sort of, kind of, not really? Okay, all right. Fun stuff is coming. Just fun stuff is coming. We're not getting nightclubs, sorry. Not getting nightclubs, which is back to your point, Rick. The Wallet Hub came out and they have 45 different measuring markers that they used for us. But nightclubs, bars, different things like that that are not relative to a bedroom community was what was used to grade us. So we're not the 6th percentile at the bottom. We are somewhere further up. That's the reason we went back and honestly used the national community surveys that we've been doing. Because you guys haven't come to us 8th percentile. Yeah, it was Lancaster, that was 6th. But anyway, until you guys come to us and just are like, we want bars. And you show up in force that you want bars, or you want nightclubs, and you show up in force. And it's the majority of you guys that speak to say you want this. The council's not going to do that. We're not going to instruct staff to go find us bars and, nightclubs, because we're a bedroom community, and that's just not where any of you guys, no one has come to us and said that they wanted that. So, you can't, it's not an apples to apples comparison there.
I noticed HEB is building a new store right outside the city limits of Farmers Branch. Did we go out there?
We tried.
Okay.
We tried really hard. We've tried really hard for Trader Joe's. We've done unimaginable things trying to get the grocery store that you guys want. And right now, basically, what each and every one of them tell us is where we're at financially with each household income, we do not check that box for them. And they are not coming until we do that. There's possibilities. That it will come. I mean, we've come a long way since 2023 with our economic development. So, give us another 3 or 4 years, we can probably check that box. But it's just going to take time.
Okay.
Rick?
One last thing.
Sure.
We come in time and time again and say we don't want condos like still are going to be planning on being built over by the creek. We don't want no more apartments. But boy, it sure seems like when we both start thinking about what we don't want, we end up getting whether we like it or not. So I don't understand, I guess, or I can't put the correlation together that you're telling us we can't have this, we can come and ask for it. But then when we tell you we don't want something, it gets shoved down our throat.
I would agree with that. We vote by majority on council, and that's a democracy, right? We vote by majority. And so if you guys don't come at us in force, in mass of what you do or do not want, we vote by majority. I literally, as I sit up there, and you can ask Councilman Reed, I'd make little tick marks. I will say, if you're a non-resident, you don't get counted. I don't represent you. I'm sorry. But if you're a resident, I am ticking yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And I vote with the majority. And I act, and all the council does. We all send emails out. I think, I'm not sure if anyone, one off doesn't, but you have to reach out. You have to be vocal. If you want us to vote by majority and you want your council member to vote the way you want them to vote, put it in writing. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Email us. Put it in writing. Show up. Show up. I mean, we now have kind of an unspoken thing that we bring the emails. If you guys have emailed us, whatever you wanted, whatever you didn't want, so we can tally that out. But we can't just say, oh, I didn't want something just because I didn't want it. I have to vote for you guys. And I did vote no on that measure because that's what my District 2 representative said. I was District 3 when you were District 2 then, and I voted no for it then because I heard you and I knew that you didn't want it. But neither did some of my D3 residents. And so it was easy. D2, this go round when it came through, I voted no. But if you aren't speaking loudly to your representatives, they're going to vote the way, and they should, and honestly, all of us, we should all come at you with the numbers. Every single one of us. We should come at you with nothing less than the data points. So you understand if it is a good or a bad deal. If this is going to be promising in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or if you just don't want it, then, that's fair. Boats, RVs, and campers are coming up. I saw the survey, they sent it out to us this week with the results. But if you don't show up here and sign up to speak or email us all, and I do recommend that, honestly, if you're gonna email, put everybody on it. So everybody knows who did and didn't want it. How many? And that's the more important part, how many? If you've got neighbors that never show up for something, yet they'll tell you, it doesn't matter that they told you. They have to tell us. We have to know. It cannot be hearsay. Anybody? More questions?
You said something about the survey.
There was a survey that went out that was posted online for the boats, RVs, and campers. That is a conversation, that's a future agenda item coming up. And pretty much the majority were like, stay out of people's private business. Stay out of people's, off of people's private property is pretty much, hey, how are you? What it said. This is our private property. And even the neighbors were like, this is their private property, stay off their private property. We did, and I quote, we didn't buy a home in an HOA. If we'd,
man's community,
yeah,
not a rich man.
yeah.
So you won't ever have an HEB.
I don't think we have space for it, truthfully. Yes.
Yeah, I went to the one in Plano, and parking was horrible. Tons of parking spaces, they're all filled up.
But it's a great store. It's fabulous. And their blueberry pies are incredible.
Yes, Kate.
Gina, I'm not sure that, this might be a question for Ben, not you.
Okay.
But back when the townhomes at the corner of Josie and Dolphin Green were up, all of those discussions were in executive session.
Until the end,
Yes.
when I forced it out of executive
So
session.
my question is, as much as we can get, because it's not, because I know it was an executive session, why was that put in executive session and left there so long? For transparency.
It was pulled out of executive session because it should have not been an executive session, in truth. But we discuss a lot of our economic development in executive session. That specific topic, some of the council members were told that it was, and I don't know who, I do know who, I just don't know by whom, that they had no choice, that it had to be an executive session. I don't know if the attorneys told them that, I do not know. So when I learned that, and it was by council will, that it was an executive session, I thought to myself, but I didn't will it there. So let's take a vote, and then we'll know what council will is, because you don't know what council will is until you take a vote. And so we took a vote, went back to complete it back there, and minds were changed, and we came right back out and finished it out here.
Along those same lines, because there's a lot of economic development in executive sessions, what kind of guidelines do you guys use as council to decide what goes into?
A lot of times we're competing with other cities, and you can't talk about it.
Okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense, but without us knowing that?
Yeah, a lot of times,
It looks like you guys are
yeah, we're in competition, or you just don't want, you know, like if somebody's moving from one city to another and it's a neighbor, you don't really want them to know that we're just, you know, we're not stealing them, they came willingly, but they're coming, right? You don't want to say that out loud until the last minute. You want to save the deal. It's the art of the deal. But yeah. Anybody else? Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Going back to like townhomes and condos and things like that, I'm not opposed personally, because I realize we're getting, our property tax revenue that we get as a city is by the square foot. So as these new developments are proposed, is there any way that we can be provided with some kind of assessment with this is how much more revenue we are able to receive based on that?
I mean, once the deal is done, I don't see why not. I think that that's kind of prudent, but that's,
We can forecast it, the budget also shows that
Yeah.
the budget, both being operating budget will always show the increase in revenue by the increase in operating revenues. Most economic development programs will show the return on investment for the city.
yeah, and you guys have the last few months, you've definitely hit that, they'll put on there the year that we start breaking even. But it doesn't really necessarily equate to how much we're making. So, yeah, okay, let me grab you.
Question about the current population of Farmers Branch. Can you tell me how many folks are currently here?
Oh, daytime is different than nighttime.
Here's my
Daytime is different than nighttime. So our nighttime population sits just about 45,000, yeah. But our daytime is like triple that because people coming into the businesses and coming in, you know, to go to Starwood, quite frankly.
Here, let me rephrase. I'm asking you about people that actually are residents here.
About 45,000.
Not 45,000.
Yeah.
Okay, based on the turnout that I see here tonight, 45,000 people. We have maybe 100 people here. And many of the topics that you brought up, Ms. Burton, I don't know about the majority of folks here, but I know my friend and I wasn't aware of any of these things. You want input, and you said if we don't have strong input from the community, you can't do anything. But if we don't know what the issues are or what's happening.
They're on the agenda. I mean, they post the agenda a week in advance, and you guys have to read them. And it can't be just the highlight reel. I mean, you actually have to read, you know, not just the agenda, but you've got to click on the links and read through it. I know Mayor Lynn does, and you know, Mr. Neal and myself, we all send out emails. Omar used to, you know, kind of trying to hit those highlight reels of what you guys, you know, so you stay engaged, but you actually kind of have to do some of the work with us. You have to read the agenda to know.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I communicated with you earlier because I had noticed that you had sent out a communique about this town hall meeting. I went to the Farmers Branch Texas.gov site.
Yeah.
There was no mention of this.
It was on the slides moving through. And so you had to click the arrow because it was just a rotational, I don't know, banner is what they call it. I did check, and then you had to scroll down to get to the calendar at the bottom to see it.
Well, if I may be candid, frankly, if it wasn't for the mayor and his monthly email update, I don't know about the rest of the folks here, but I generally have no clue as to what's going on because I don't hear from my representative. My friend has a different representative. We don't hear from you folks.
I send out almost every month, sometimes twice a month. I absolutely do. Mark, Dan, I mean, my residents that have signed up for my email newsletter, they get, and I don't do a lot of fluff. I mean, it's really this, I mean, it's this, and this. And many times, I will actually recount what the agenda is going to look like so you guys are aware. You can just click on it and see, so you don't even have to go to the web page, the Farmers Branch web page to do that. But you have to be on my email list. So I do.
Well, as a council representative, do you have access access to the people in your district?
I can only as you guys sign up. As you have to physically sign up for it. I cannot just randomly sign you up for it.
Okay.
Why doesn't the city have the website, like they do the weekly news email that you can sign up and get? Why can't they have a weekly email or an email before each city council meeting to get
People out to it.
the agenda down?
Two people.
But at least it's there quickly. It comes automatically if you've signed up for it.
Can you do that, Ben? Can you add? I just how often does your newsletter go out? I don't even know.
The newsletter is monthly.
Okay.
And on that, we have the city news. In fact, one of the last slides that you have, and we can put that up at the end. When you sign up for your city news, there's options to sign up for
I get
various
a weekly email.
and the agenda can be part of that. And we also put a link on our social media. I don't know if you're active on our
I
social
have
media
never seen
page.
an agenda for the council meetings.
But I'll be happy to show you afterwards. But yeah, that.
It's on the very first one.
Yeah.
It's on the very first slide.
We can get you signed up for that.
Okay.
I have to say, it was because of social media that, like, I even showed up, but I
Yeah.
had no idea that any of these meetings were happening, but I just happened to see it on Facebook, and I said, you know, it'd be good to go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good job on doing that. I think we can get more engagement from the younger population.
We would really
Via
like that.
social media.
Let's see, getting there. The clicker doesn't work that fast. Sorry, guys. There it is.
Your poster or whatever at the library, that's how I found it. I'm not
Okay.
on Facebook, but
Okay.
I saw your sign that said you were having a town hall.
Yes, Rick.
So I think kind of what he was asking is before you guys decide on anything, they want just, and I would like to see it too, to where you get to see what kind of revenue this business is gonna bring in versus what it's gonna cost us, how it's gonna affect our neighborhood. In other words, is the get worth the give? That's what needs to happen on every project.
And we do go through that, but we have to go through it in executive session.
Okay, but here's the thing, everything happens in executive session.
I know. It's frustrating.
It keeps us all in the dark, and then the decision's made, and people don't like it and stuff, but then there's no repercussions for it, which is also not right, because you're here representing all of us. You work for us. And the other thing is the transparency is not good around here. And you've got a lot of stuff that's going on there. There should be no mistake about whether it borderlines or it could be perceived as being a conflict of interest.
We are working on that in the charter this go round. Again, raise your hands if you're on charter review. Email them, write it down, give it to them, send it to us, any of the council members. Show up for their meetings. Will they be televised? They will be recorded, so, yeah. So make sure you stay on top of when they are. Write the dates down. Anybody else? Yeah.
In your presentation, you said that you guys are working towards stronger access to healthcare through the county partnerships.
Mhm.
What does that mean?
So,
How
well,
many partnerships are we, and what type of healthcare are we looking at through that?
Ben, you put that in there. I read it and went, as well, but.
Size, social arenas such as healthcare, because that survey was one that caused a lot of attention, because it measured a lot of things that we as a city do not do. It also measured personal qualities like debt rate, credit scores, things that, so it looked at people from every layer. Healthcare is something in the city our size that we cannot financially do. It's also not a priority of the residents as that is channeled through the city council. So we use partnerships in those arenas. In Dallas County, for example, the immunization clinic you see on ballot up there. So working with them on different partnerships that they can provide service level gaps, and then with our other nonprofit organizations such as Metro Press Services, the Logan Clinic, and the Family Place, they provide a service gap where there's needs in the community that the city of Farmers Branch is just not leveraged or large enough to provide. This doesn't make financial sense for us to do it on our own. So we work through partnerships. So it's not just the county, it's going to be the non-governmental organizations that are in there as well. But the county has Dallas County Health and Human Services, which provides a lot of gaps where cities cannot or helps deliver services to our area. And a lot of times they look for a very strong discounted rate. We just provide a pathway through our interlocal agreement to achieve those partnerships. So it's continuous conversations and always trying to figure out what do the residents as a whole need? What can we help provide? And then it goes to the policy group. That can only be approved by the city council regardless of dollar amount because it's an agreement with another governmental agency.
So that sounds like you're talking about low-income healthcare, not the middle or upper level healthcare. And I would wager that most of us are going to Carrollton, Addison, maybe Dallas for that. I've been in WellMed, and that is only for people with a certain health insurance provider. I have not been to Oak Street Health, but it says AARP on that, right on the building. So that looks like if you're not over 65, although I do now know that you don't have to be 65 to join AARP, by the way.
50.
You actually don't have to be, a 19-year-old can join an AARP and they are A-okay with that. However, but because it says AARP on that, that looks like that is only for people who are older. And then you have the pediatric urgent care. So I would say that we could use some more healthcare in the city that's not in those buckets that serves the majority of the city.
And so that's the perfect balancing act, as Mayor Pro Tem Bergman was talking about, was those feedback loops to the council. And we're about to start strategic planning in just 3 short months, so it's going to happen quickly, to say this is something we'd like to see more of. And then we'll fold into the strategic planning session, which will then fold into the budget process. So meetings, public transparency, showing what is the council considering in the budget, but that's where the piece would be that would change what our level of financial commitment is as an organization. That's where the council members need feedback from you all to know this is what you want to see more of from the city and what areas maybe not, because we all live different lives. We're going to experience life in Farmers Branch differently. Everybody's needs and wants in this room are completely different, and sometimes they compete. The council works together as a group. Majority, as she said, also decides, and it's tough because sometimes something may be a priority here, is adverse to a priority here, and here, and so they have to make tough decisions, and that's one of those as well. Limited resources, and the council does get hit hard with criticism in the social arena when it comes to those topics, and so not only do they need your feedback and concerns, they also need your support as well, because they are going to be told no when someone doesn't like their decisions, they will hear it from the mountaintops. But they don't always hear that appreciation. They put in a lot of hours to be on the city council. These agendas are sometimes 600, 700, 900, 1,200 pages. They get a week to read. And it's technical. Some of them, I'm sorry, it is technical to a degree. To read all of that, and they come here and make an informed decision. Because they read it all, they pay attention to all of it. Even that survey was released. There were 45 metrics. If you read through and all the metrics to it to have an informed conversation about it, you say, hey, we're compared to these cities. When you look at the metrics, we're not a bar city, we're not a nightclub city, we've never been told on black criminals. We don't, that was backwards. A movie theater and also the greater ecosystem. As Farmers Branch is not just a city by itself, we're a city as part of a region. So again, who doesn't go in that area? Yeah, we're part of that region. Not everybody's going to work in the city. So that survey was very much about an independent city being on its own, having everything inside of it. We have great partners and great resources around us. Yes, we went after HEB multiple times, told no. Trader Joe's 4 times, told no. We keep asking for them, but they've been very blunt with us. They said, you're very blessed with your tax base being 74% commercial, but they're looking for the rooftops, and they're looking for rooftops with incomes that are fairly high. That's why they did select Capel, because we are over 5 miles away from that Trader Joe's. We fit for a Trader Joe's. She's asked for us to go after. We even put developers on it. We just can't get them to say yes to Farmers Branch. But they didn't say never. They said, show us this dream, and we might consider it.
So what is that income level that they would like to see here? Do we have?
Over 100,000.
Okay. So we have some room to grow.
But they want to see it growing higher as well. So we try to create a strategy, they will not budge at all.
Isn't it also the density within a certain area that they're looking at?
Rooftops and density, and oil, some are gonna look at education components too, because certain folks they're gonna correlate who shops there based on different things, and we can't tell them right or wrong, they just tell us, thank you, they're polite, they're nice, they'll talk to us, but the answer has been no at least 4 times so far, and that's within the last 18 months, not no 5 years ago. This is as fresh as 6 weeks ago, we got no anymore.
Do we have our own demographic data that we compare to theirs? And
their data for what they're measuring is correct.
I figured, yeah. Okay.
Okay, let him real quickly and then I'll come to you.
That sounds like it makes sense, but it doesn't. Why dance to somebody's tune? If you're not going to get a HED, or why don't you go in a different direction and have things that make sense to people that you want to attract? For instance, they're building, they're gentrifying our neighborhood tremendously. But a lot of those homes aren't any better than the homes that were built 30 years ago. In 30 years, they'll be a shambles. I've watched the service trucks come after they're brand new, and you think, oh, hot water heater busted in the attic. And they're having this done. They shouldn't have that done. Why don't we try to attract builders that make energy efficient homes that the foundations don't crack up and you don't have to pump water in the soil so that you can build a house on it and sell it to somebody quick, and then as soon as we have a dry spell, everything starts cracking up.
Welcome to Texas.
Why don't we go in directions that make sense and try to attract all these colleges that have these departments that are trying to figure out all this energy efficiency, and solar panels on houses look like a great idea, but they're a terrible idea now. All the companies that came in and are screwing people over with these contracts and things. Why don't we try to think a little bit more down to earth and don't play the games that all these other cities are playing and spend valuable tax dollars trying to attract some company that doesn't want to be here anyway? So just have a community that has parks and solid homes that you can live in 100 years like they do in Europe.
But what about all of the empty warehouses that we have? Because we have empty office buildings and empty warehouses.
And they're built better than houses, so that would be a great place for housing.
So, and if I'm not mistaken, Marilyn, 2.5 years ago, when you first came on, you went out, we actually all went on a tour to see how we could redevelop warehouses, and we didn't look at that, and it just didn't fit. It just didn't fit with us. Give me just a second, Rick, because the lady in the green shirt was next. And so we have, it's not like we haven't, it's been a while, but builders, we can't, if they want to be here, they want to be here. You can't force them to come here.
But if we play with our strengths, this is the best location.
Exactly.
We've got airports that we don't have to contend with, but they're close. We've got a rail thing that we used to ride, but we haven't for a long time. But everything's about location. So why do we worry about what we can attract and just worry about things that we can do, like build better homes and make sure that our schools are top notch and that our parks are better than anybody else's? When they mention the thing about maintenance, I've noticed trees dying in the park, they'll cut it down and there won't be a tree show up again. When a tree falls, you need to replant it because that's what a park is all about. But you don't see that. I've seen a couple of plantings, but one, it was brand new planting and the tree died. So evidently somebody didn't care enough to make sure that it lived. But that's what I'm saying. We should play to our strengths and quit trying to compete with things that we're never going to. Yeah, Frisco and all these other places.
Yeah, we're not trying to compete with Frisco.
We're setting building codes.
Pardon me?
Our standards for our building codes or our...
Those are set by the state. Those are set by the state. We just have to comply. We can't, that is not something we can supersede.
You can't say, I
We
want something
cannot,
better than that?
we cannot supersede what the state says. And we just had a whole new set of pages of stuff that they went through this last session. And developers went heavy after the state this last session. And I suspect that the next session it will be even heavier. And the developers drive that. So that's the importance of being involved, not just at the local level, but at your state level as well, because they make those decisions. And I know I don't like it, but I mean, until you call your representative, it's like calling us. We have to be engaged. We must be engaged. But sometimes, like this last session, things moved so quickly, it was hard to keep up with everything that we were getting hit with from what the developers were asking for. And it was really, it made our heads spin. It was hard. We had update after update after update via email of, this has gotten to this level and this is in committee and in review. And, if it comes out, how does it affect us? And we do stay on top of that. But if it makes it through, then we change all of our ordinances and codes to fit that. So, yeah.
I just had a question about schools. So I know that Mullet Hub article was talking about the quality of education here. It's not very good. I have 2 kids and I'm looking elsewhere for their education because it's just, they're not in school. Is anything being done to improve our schools?
So the city council is substantially different than the school board, and that's a school board question. So get on the school board website and find their meetings and ask, okay?
Thank you.
Which district do you live in?
I'm not sure.
What street?
District 2.
Okay. So you have, in your district, you have Ileana Garza.
And Marjorie.
And is it Marjorie too, is over here? Okay, Marjorie Barnes, yeah.
Oh, wait, did you think District 2 or all of Farmers Branch?
Well, Farmers Branch works, because the others do not live in Farmers Branch. They live up in Carrollton. So, yeah. Okay. I think you wanted, Rick, you had something?
So I have a couple of comments. It was either 2018 to 2023, but actually I think it was 2019 to 2024. Farmers Branch added so much density that they were number 30 out of every city in the United States. If you take away 75244 out of there, then we were 35th. We added so many apartments, it's ridiculous. Where's the grocery store? Still didn't come big. It's not coming. They have different standards, different things that they want. We had way too many apartments. And then also, if you look at the whole situation, adding more is not going to get us what we want. All you're doing, we have what now? 1.5 times the amount of single-family homes here. We have 1.5 times more apartments than them now. What's going to be good? And the stuff you want to put up, we hear the same thing from the developers. They're the latest greatest. Well, there's one that's not even 14 years old that was the latest greatest. Man, it's going to be amazing. As soon as this gets built, we're going to have this, we're going to have that. Now you know what we have? We have Section 8. So my whole point is, we're being sold a bag of garbage. They're putting it in a 10-pound sack, and we're not getting nothing. Some of you were sitting there during that time and feeding us that garbage and everything else. Mercer Crossing isn't what we wanted it to be and designed it to be. No, we sold out more and more to the developer all the time. Oh, we can only stick this here, and we can stick that there. And now it's just an apartment city. I'm glad it's cut away from Farmers Branch. It's on the other side. You know, there's got to be quit being the buddy system, and we need to get back to, like that gentleman there said, we need to make good decisions.
Did you have something else? I just wasn't sure if you were done.
We can't hear you.
I wasn't sure if you were done or not, if you had something else.
I'm good, thank you.
Well, we heard you. I got you. Anybody else? Yeah, yes.
Long time listener, first time call.
What?
Sorry.
Okay.
It's gonna sound too far out. But if we wanna make the city better, it's gonna take all, we can all sit here and complain, and I've done plenty of it. But it's gotta start in your block, in your neighborhood, on your street. If there's a problem, help fix it. Don't just come in here and complain and say, hey, what are you guys gonna do about it? Try to do something to make it better. There are people in the city that wanna help. There really are. And with like Andy Dover, there's people that don't, but you can't fix it. Favorite saying we have is you can't fix stupid. Well, I'm stupid a lot too. But it's gotta start with all of us. A house at a time, a street at a time, a block at a time. You want a better city? Then get to work. Do something about it. You know, we stood up and taken our hits for doing it, and did it hurt? Yeah. But in the end, did it make it better? Yeah. So, I mean, just take that into consideration when talking in here and complaining. Like I said, I've done plenty of it, but
I'm responsive.
a block at a time, a city at a time.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
The Big Lots store, can you give me anything? I understand that company is not in good shape, and if they empty that building out, it's a pretty good sized building.
Big Lots is gone.
It's gone?
It's gone. Yeah, it's been gone a while.
Okay, so how long will that building be vacant, or will they subdivide it, or do we have any idea?
We don't know. We don't own it. We don't know. It's not in our destiny right now. So we can't manage that destiny. I mean, there's somebody sitting in the room that could probably give us more to that, but I won't put you on the spot, Dan. Dan.
I know we spent a lot of money on studying the Four Corners area about 5 years ago, and still haven't seen a lot of improvement over there. And you said something about Marshalls earlier, and I didn't hear.
So Marshall's is set to move or close in 2026. So next year, I mean, just a few months away. So they have gone out very actively, our economic development, to try to help them find a place to stay in the city. Because they're a legacy. We need to keep them.
Yeah, Charlie Marshall's we've been a part of that family for years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the people at Marshall's claim that the city didn't want them there. If you talk to, because we go regularly.
Yeah,
and they
my
say-
husband and I do
They say
too.
the high-priced apartments across that were gonna be townhomes, but are apartments, they said, you know, they don't fit into that kind of neighborhood. And, well, that's the old lower echelon, I don't know any bosses.
Yeah.
But that's what the story is on the street.
Well, that's not the story. I mean, do we want them in that building? Because we need that building to be redeveloped or somebody to do something with it. But that's not Marshall's. They don't own it.
Yeah, I know.
You know, so do we want them in the city? Yes. And it's just a matter of finding a place for them.
But it's indefinite on their side, right? That they're not going to stay, or is there?
No, the city is working with them. They haven't made any definitive, it's just that we found out that it was 2026, that they were going to be up or closing or moving. And I asked them to ask the city to engage to see if there was a place that we could put them to keep them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't we put them in Big Lots?
Is it true that we have still multiple landlords in the Four Corners area?
Yes.
And that's why we can't seem to get anything done over there?
Yes.
Other question? Does the city have a parking lot standard ordinance that code enforcement maintains? Parking lot.
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it's in the code of ordinances and addresses the paving and the condition of that paving. So we're actively in that, really, we're actively enforcing our codes, not only in residential areas, but also commercial. It takes it a little longer in commercial because, as mentioned previously, there are multiple property owners within one large tract. Sometimes they're in town or in state, sometimes they're out of state, sometimes they're out of
that's
state. So it takes it a little, it's just a little longer to work with commercial,
But they're subject to the same standards citizens are, right?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we've gone over. I'm glad I went quickly through that, because we were over. Anybody else? Anything else? Anyone? Okay. Well, thank you for coming. And we will see you guys soon at another town hall for another district, I'm sure. So, and if you have any questions, please, please, please feel free to reach out to any and all